The Wish by Lady Mary Chudleigh, 1656 to 1710. Would but indulgent fortune send to me a kind and faithful friend, one who to virtue's laws is true, and does her nicest rules pursue, one pious, liberal, just and brave, and to his passions not a slave, who full of honour, void of pride, will freely praise and freely chide, but not indulge the smallest fault, nor entertain one slighting thought, who still the same will ever prove, will still instruct and still will love, in whom I safely may confide, and with him all my cares divide, who has a large capacious mind, joined with a knowledge unconfin'd, a reason bright, a judgement true, a wit both quick and solid too, who can of all things talk with ease, and whose converse will ever please, who charmed with wit and inward graces despises fools with tempting faces, and still a beauteous mind does prize above the most enchanting eyes. I would not envy queens their state, nor once desire a happier fate. Okay, this is a poem by Lady Mary Chudleigh. Now, Lady Mary was born, she's a British poet, she was born in, I think in Devon, and she was a noble. Let's see, she had one uncle who fought in the Civil War on the side of the Parliament, and I think another uncle who was a famous doctor. She came from a very rich family. Now, she was a proto-feminist. She was one of the an early feminist dealing with various feminist ideas. She didn't have a lot of formal education, but she taught herself about theology and science. Anyway, what's this poem about? Well, this poem is saying she wishes she had a friend, but a real friend, somebody who had all of the characteristics of a real friend. I'm wondering if she's talking about a husband, a boyfriend, in this time. I think perhaps if a boyfriend not, but I think she's criticizing her husband, and she's expressing her desire for an ideal companion. And this poem is interesting in the fact that it reflects all of the virtues that were considered desirable during the period of the Enlightenment, and the poem is focusing on reason and logic and virtue and intelligence, being charming, and she's longing for a true friendship, a true companion, somebody that she can really share life with. And clearly this is not the case. This is something that she would dearly love to have. Would but indulgent fortune send to me a kind and faithful friend. So would but, I love her construction. If only fortune, if only strange fortune would send me a kind and faithful friend. That's what I need. This is what I want luck to send me. One who to virtue's laws is true. So, a virtuous person. Okay, so she's clearly not talking about a lover. She's talking about a friend. She's talking about a companion, somebody that she can have a real relationship, somebody who is virtuous, who follows what is right, who knows what is right, and does her nicest rules pursue. And somebody who follows the nicest rules of virtue. Her here is referring to virtue. So who is virtuous and follows the rule of virtuous. One pious, so somebody who's religious. Lib'ral, who thinks about other people, who accepts ideas that are not theirs, who accepts that people can be different. Just, fair, and brave. Okay, so somebody who's pious, liberal, just, and brave, and to his passions not a slave, and somebody who's not is not a slave to their passion, somebody who doesn't follow their vices, somebody who thinks before they act. They don't just suddenly feel something and then act and then, oh, I'm sorry. They're somebody who's not a slave to their passions. Notice his. Yeah, I think his is probably his or her, to their passions. Who full of honour, void of pride, will freely praise and freely chide. So somebody who is honourable and somebody who doesn't suffer from pride, somebody who's not proud, somebody who will freely praise and freely chide. I quite like this line, because it's saying somebody who will say what they think. They will say this is very good, and they'll say that is very bad, but freely, without thinking. That to chide is to tell off, so they will tell people what is good, what they've done that is good, and what they've done that is bad, but not indulge the smallest fault, nor entertain one slighting thought. But somebody who won't put up with faults, who won't let people continue to do things that are not right. But then again, somebody who will not think badly of you. Here, to slight is to insult, to think badly of. So somebody who will tell you that's wrong, you can't do that, I'm not going to allow you to do that because that's wrong. But they won't think badly of you for doing it. So somebody who's not judgmental, who still the same will ever prove, will still instruct and still will love. So who's somebody who is unchanging, who is constant in their values, somebody who will tell you what you've done that is wrong, but will still love you, will still be your friend. It's okay. Yes, all you need to do is learn. They will instruct you about the things that you've done that are wrong. In whom I safely may confide, and with him all my cares divide. So somebody who I can trust, who I can tell my innermost thoughts, and somebody who I can share my problems with, somebody who I can tell my problems. A problem shared is a problem halved. My cares divide. Who has a large capacious mind, joined with a knowledge unconfined. So their mind is very open, that lots of things new ideas will fit in their mind, but they also have a huge knowledge about the world. And I think this is talking about the ideal husband or the ideal partner, but not but somebody that to share her life with, somebody who is really a friend. And this poem is the definition, is defining what she means by a friend. A reason bright, a judgment true, a wit both quick and solid too. So somebody with good reasoning, good logic, and somebody who has a true judgment, who knows the difference between right and wrong, who can make make an opinion, to make up their mind very quickly, and a wit both quick and solid too, so that they're funny, they're quick-witted, they have funny things to say, who can of all things talk with ease, and whose converse will ever please. So somebody who can easily talk about anything, and somebody whose conversation will always please. I was thinking, look at all these capitals. These are almost personified ideas. Reason, judgment, wit, ease, converse, wit, graces. Who charmed with wit and inward graces despises fools with tempting faces. So somebody who's funny and has internal grace, is a graceful person, is a person who is at peace with themselves, but they hate fools. They're not they don't fall for fools with tempting faces who look wonderful, who look very attractive. So they're not somebody who's not attracted by stupid people, no matter how tempting, how beautiful they look. And still a beauteous mind does prize above the most enchanting eyes. And somebody for whom a person's mind is the most important. It doesn't matter how enchanting their eyes, how beautiful this person is. What's beautiful is the mind. So a person who can see beauty in the mind. I would not envy queens their state, nor once desire a happier fate. So I wouldn't envy a queen who is the ruler, maybe Queen Anne. I wouldn't. There's nothing that would make me happier than to have a friend with all of these qualities. So it's reflecting the values of the Enlightenment, and it's talking about how in this age the things that are important are loyalty, integrity, intelligence, being charming, personal growth, cultivation of the mind. All of these things are important. And I think this poem also echoes how lonely she is. In another poem, the poem which she's famous for, To the Ladies, she's criticizing husbands and the problems that women have to endure during marriage. And I think maybe in this she's saying that she wishes that husbands were like this, that life partners were like this, but it's not. It's unfortunately it's not real. So, The Wish by Lady Mary Chudleigh.